Hey, good morning. If you're here early, welcome. I'm going to get started in a second. I'm doing something different where I don't have a splash screen. I'll tell you why in a minute. But I am just getting started. Let me see if they let me do my captions. At least we can do that. Good, good, good. Um, I'll tell you what's going on in a second. For those of you showing up early and on time, it's massively frustrating to me. But we're all good. I just had to get on LinkedIn or my phone to make sure I can see and make sure this stuff is displaying. Good. I'm good to go. Okay, we're going to get started here in just a second. On early. No, it's 12 o'clock. So let's get started. For those of you guys got here just a few minutes early, I am furious at this company. I pay a lot of money. For 3 years, I have paid them. And just they got rid of all sorts of stuff on my subscription. And so I couldn't come on. I got this stupid Restream logo and some other stuff. It really is infuriating me. And I only stay infuriated for a few seconds, but it instantly is making me look for a new company where I will do Restream. So I'm using this company called Restream. I love them, but because they just did this thing to my account without me knowing, and I'm going live, it makes me kind of like look somewhere else. And my point is, that's my tip for the day. It was going to be something around Stephen Covey's highly effective 7 habits for highly effective people. You can see I'm a little flustered, right? It was going to be on that, but instead it is on this idea of customer service. When we work with the government and we're supporting the government, let's make sure we're always thinking about it from their perspective, squaring them away. We don't know what their sense of urgency is. In the military, in the government in particular, they have such important missions that are out there and that they're supporting. And for something like my vendor did to me being done to you, it is a really huge disruption. So we want to make sure, that's my tip for you, is make sure we're always treating our customers squared away. Let me just dive into the training, and I want to make sure I'm turning certain things off. If you're just getting here, welcome. We're going to get started in 1 second. Hey, I get asked this all the time about how I can win more government contracts. I think it's a really popular question. It's a question I like answering, and it's a question I ask myself constantly when I'm thinking about my own direction or supporting clients. And the answer, more often than not, is have more slam dunk opportunities in your sales pipeline. If you're not familiar with how I describe slam dunk opportunities, what I mean is that these are opportunities that your company is guaranteed to win. And when I say guaranteed to win, I mean, you look at it and go, man, we're guaranteed to win that because we're doing so good. My last company, I sold Microsoft SharePoint services. If I saw anything that was a SharePoint related opportunity, we saw that as a slam dunk opportunity. And so the more of those slam dunk opportunities you have in your pipeline, the more chance you're going to be able to write really strong winning proposals and eventually start winning more contracts. In today's training, I'm going to be talking about how do you find those slam dunk opportunities. In particular, how do you find opportunities in SAM.Gov? In this first pass, I really want you to understand, this isn't even pursuing the opportunity a lot. I posted a chart on LinkedIn yesterday, and it showed this question I asked and people answered, and I said I was shocked at kind of the answers. And the question was something along the lines of, how long do you spend looking at an opportunity to decide if it's a fit? And for me, I was thinking more like hours and hours, and 50% of the people said like less than 1 hour. And I realized how vague and confusing my question was, in the sense that what I meant was, when you really are looking at the requirement documents, how long do you spend? But most of the people who answered, they were thinking what I'm teaching today. When you're trying to initially qualify opportunities, you don't want to spend a lot of time, really like 5 or 10 minutes at most. If you know the opportunity going after, then you can figure it out pretty fast. And so today, when we're in SAM, that's the part I'm talking about, is the first pass just to identify, does it look like a slam dunk opportunity? We call these unqualified opportunities. Sometimes people might call them identified opportunities, but I just call them unqualified because the next thing I'm going to try to do is to qualify them. And that's a whole different training. And so when you put that opportunity into the pipeline, you're beginning, in my opinion, right? And generally, pretty much this is the way it is. When you put it into your pipeline, now you're starting to begin capture. Before it goes in your pipeline, you're doing business development. You're identifying opportunities. But once it's in and you're working on that opportunity, that's capture. It's just the very earliest stage of capture. Okay, so let me share some slides as we get along and start talking about finding opportunities using SAM.Gov. In today's training, I want to break it up into 2 parts and then a live demo. So first thing I want to do is I like going back on everything I teach and say, let me make sure we're all on the same page out there on some of this stuff. Just gotta adjust myself. So I want to talk about SAM and just an introduction of SAM. Make sure everybody knows, how we should be seeing SAM. And then the second thing is, before you go look for opportunities and SAM, you don't want to just browse randomly, because any random result will hit the mark, right? And what you want to do is you want to be identifying specifically what you're going to be looking for in SAM. And that means identifying the criteria or the search parameters. What are you going to look for? And I'll talk about that in a second. And then the last thing is I want to cover us down into going into SAM and using it. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. I am co-founder of GovCon in a Box. And I am ecstatic that you're here for my federal sales training, where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner, doing every particular job in the company, from delivering services to the customer, sales, running the company. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we're going to have repeatable, predictable results. And just for the fun of it, because sometimes I want to put myself back in a good mood, I don't know if you've been here for a long time with me, but I always say A to Z, repeatable, predictable. But today, for some reason, I said A to Z, and I went the opposite way. Apparently, I'm not always repeatable and predictable. Okay, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter, Government Contracting Success Newsletter. Love to have you in there. It's the largest government contracting newsletter by far on LinkedIn. And we're constantly putting content in there we know is going to be valuable to your path to success as a government contractor, in particular as a small business. And then tomorrow's training is piggybacking off of today and in the following day as well. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to find opportunities that fit for your company in using FPDS. And the day after that, we'll be talking about using USA spending to find opportunities. And the final day on Friday, we'll be looking at opportunities from long-range acquisition forecasts, how you can look at those and figure out which ones are good fit for you. Hey, so I'd like to congratulate the newest companies in the 100 Club, and let me put myself down into a small box. But I didn't do it today because Cecilia and a bunch of companies, they all decided to accelerate faster. We got 5 new companies between yesterday and today who went up into the 100 Club. I'm super excited. Tomorrow, I'm just going to give you a slide of your own for a second before I add you to the group in here. But I just didn't have time to add them in here. So I'm super excited for you 5 who just joined. But congratulations to all the other companies who are in the 100 Club. If you're in the 100 Club, say 100 Club rocks, or go ahead and throw your number like we're number 26. If you want to understand what the 100 Club is, it's around your federal visibility score. How visible are you to federal buyers when they go into market research? When they start looking for a company like yours, can they find you? Your federal visibility score is something I came up with that my co-founders and I in GovCon in a Box, we then automated this process of identifying how visible you are in the government's own tools. So you can go to govconinabox.com. Right there on the homepage, the middle button, just click that and you'll see how you can browse companies, put your company name, UEI, and you'll be able to find that. I'd love to add more people in there. If you're already a member, we have well over 1,000 people who are members of GovCon in a Box. If you're already a member and you're trying to get to a 100 Club, reach out to Cecilia or me, and we'll help you if any kind of tips in there. Make sure that before you reach out to us, you're clicking on your score and you're seeing the videos, because I provide specific step-by-step guidance for your company. All right, congratulations to all of you. Let's talk about what is SAM. Just a very brief introduction to SAM. SAM stands for System for Award Management. And the idea is there's a lot of activity that goes on in the government. They spend a ton of money. When you think about trillions of dollars that are out there, well, only about 800 billion of it is what I call small business eligible dollars or contract dollars. But SAM also tracks on grant dollars and some other things. So there's a lot of extra stuff. I'm only going to be talking about the contract dollars. But when you think about SAM, you can kind of see it in 3 steps. We register to sell to the federal government. And so we're joining their supplier portal. We're saying, hey, we would like to register with you. And they're saying, you seem qualified, come on in. The second thing is entity management. And this is something we do every 6 months, is we're making sure our SAM profile is up to date, and we're cruising forward. And the third one, which is the one we want to talk about, are contracts and grants. So SAM manages many of the contracts and grants that are in there. I did want to put a myth out there. Excuse me. Sometimes people think that SAM.Gov has everything, and it does not. SAM's got some rules out there about if it's over 25,000, it goes into SAM, but that's only when on a portion of it. And somewhere I'd love to find the factual data to support what percentage it is, but it is not a big portion of it, like where you think 80 or 90%. There are so many contract vehicles out there that don't even bother putting their information into SAM, because the idea theoretically is if I have an opportunity, I put it in SAM, I can find vendors who can respond to me. But if I have a contract vehicle like Seaport Next Gen, it has its own supplier portal or contract vehicle portal, and it has 1,000 plus or 2,000 plus companies that have already been vetted. And so they just put the opportunity in there. So those people who can bid are the ones that are seeing it. So there's all sorts of opportunities that stay to a contract vehicle, like eBuy is the GSA one. Sometimes things just say on eBuy. More often than not, the GSA ones are sliding into SAM sometimes too. But classified contracts, it's another group, that whole intelligence community. There's a lot of those agencies that just don't put their opportunities out here on SAM. They have their own opportunity, and I'm forgetting it for the life of me. Somebody can put it in, but it's its own portal, and you can go in there and register for it. And now you're registering and able to see opportunities related to the intelligence side. So NGA, NSA, CIA, those kind of things. But anyways, those are just 2 things to pay attention to, is that not everything is SAM. So if you want to work in the intelligence community, track on where they put their opportunities. If you want to see the opportunities coming out on contract vehicles, well, you need to make friends with somebody who's got the Seaport Next Gen contract vehicle. They can add you as a person into their basically into their portal, which gives you access into the opportunities. So that way, when you see one you like, you can say, hey, can we team up and go after it? That was just a quick introduction to SAM. I'm trying to remember that name for the intelligence community. Hopefully somebody will put it in there. And by the way, you can go to my newsletter, because in my newsletter, I told you exactly how to register in that portal for the IC community, step-by-step guides. Okay, so here's just quick criteria so I can maximize my demo time. When I go in to search for opportunities in SAM, today's training is all about searching for opportunities that you can win or you think might be good fits for your company inside of SAM.Gov. And so the first thing I want you to make sure you have is at least 5 keywords that you can be searching on. So if I'm looking for something, my old company, I might look at Microsoft, I might look at Office 365 or O365, I might look at SharePoint, I might look at software development as a way to see if I can fit in there. And then certainly migrations or something, or records management was a huge one that we did within SharePoint. And so know what your keywords are that you can start searching. I have a whole keyword tool that the GovCon in a Box team built that you can go in there and put some high level keywords, and it will spit out a bunch more related keywords. And just go to govconinAbox.com and you can see that. It's a free tool. Next one is your NAICS code of PSC, excuse me. So if I go in, I'm going to pick one particular thing I think today, so we'll figure it out. But know what your NAICS codes are. I don't like searching for what I do on a NAICS code, because say I do software development and I use 541, 511, if that's the right one, or 512, right? It's going to come up with a ton of opportunities. Now, I don't mind doing that when I can't find anything else, but if I can narrow it down at the start, I begin searching with keywords. And then target agency, who are you trying to get into? Set-asides and timelines, these are criteria you should think about, and you can decide. I don't generally search for set-asides, because if I find a SharePoint opportunity, I don't care what it's set aside to, I'm going after it. I might go after it as a sub or a prime, but I'm going to go find a prime contractor who will let me on the team with my SharePoint expertise. So hopefully that makes sense. ARC, there you go. Thanks, everybody. So Brent, Matthew, and others are putting in ARC. That's what it's called. You can go to, maybe if I'm lucky, Cecilia, I see you on here. If you can put the newsletter article to the ARC, I show you how to how to register. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out. Oh, before I do a demo, I did want to just tell you, in GovCon in a Box and through GovCon Chamber as well, we're standing up a marketplace of vendors who want to sell to the government contracting small business world, right? So when I was small business struggling to find a lawyer, accountant, et cetera, I wanted to find ones who understood my business and the uniqueness of government contracting. Even my banker was awesome because I found a bank that was unique to government contracting, like they specialized in that, and they understood the whole invoicing and how basically they gave me a lot of money for my debt and credit and to be able to grow my company. So I want to build a marketplace around that. We've got 2 companies in there already, Graham and Silk River is a not a bank, but a loan company specializing in the construction side, but we'll expand. And then just today, we got Steel Toe joined us, and their expertise, some of their expertise is around helping companies get CMMC and CMMI certified. CMMC was a big one. I really want to get some of those vendors into the marketplace because all of us who want to sell the DoD, we need to be tracking on CMMC. And personally, I need to be looking to an expert myself for that kind of service. So I figured I'd just let you guys know. But you can go to govconinabox.com/marketplace. Begin to check it out. Support it as we start bringing vendors in. If you've got favorite vendors you think other people should hear about, let me know and I'll try to get them to join. Okay, let's go to SAM.Gov really quick. Give me 2 seconds to pull up SAM and share it. Let me pull that guy there. Let me come over here. And if I do this correctly, there's SAM. Okay, and let me put myself down in a corner. Good. Hide that. Come back to SAM. If you're not familiar with SAM, welcome. But for most of us, we are. And I'm going to go really, really fast. There's a help guide here that walks you through. This is how I seem like I'm an expert. Well, I am an expert, but this is how I reinforce my expertise is I read the help documentation from SAM, from FPDS, from these places. I'm not a wizard. They have guides on how to use the tool. I know I need to use the tool, so I read them and I pay attention to it. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to search, and I want to give you a couple of search tips that I use. So the first thing I did was I clicked on the search tab, and then right here it says domain. So what are you searching for? I'm only looking for contract opportunities, so I'm going to click on that. And then the next thing I want to take you to really quickly is down here. Well, I'll pause for a second. So you remember I said SharePoint was my last company. Let's just start with that for 1 second. SAM is a really good search engine. I really, really like this part of it that I'm about to show you. So if I type in SharePoint and I hit enter, so I'm instantly able to see 7 opportunities. And before I even look at them, let me show you what filters are kind of in place already. These are active opportunities that are in there. And the notice types are currently all of them. If I wanted to sort it down to say sources sought, there's 5 of them that are sources sought. And the reason that's kind of helpful to me is because they're still in the future, right? And the other 2 are RFPs. If I go back really quick and let me come down and show you, if I get rid of sources sought and I say probably combined synopsis, 6, what's the other one? That's killing me. Might be award notice. Nope, I don't know what it is. But let me get rid of sources sought. And come down here. I'll get rid of sources sought. So if I come in here, I can see this is an opportunity. So it's an original opportunity and it's due. Am I missing the due date? There it is. So due by January. So if I wanted to look in here, this is how I search, by the way. I'm not going to look anymore. First thing I'm going to do is just click on things and open a new tab. And I'll show you in a second. This is how I find opportunities pretty fast. Let me get rid of these 2 and bring back sources sought for the fun of it. So here, I'm just looking at this. This is, well, actually, this is perfect. I'm going to show you exactly how I search for opportunities because there's only 7. So I'm not even wasting my time. I didn't even read the title. I just opened them all. Did I get them all? I missed one. Oh, there's only 5 and there's something else. I don't know what that other one was, but it doesn't matter. So now I'm coming in and I'm trying to quickly see what the opportunity is. And down here, Senior Cybercrime Advisor, what I'm looking for is it related to SharePoint? And if I do this, demonstrate a working knowledge, so that right away, this opportunity is not a fit for me. I want to be the SharePoint expert. What this row 7 is saying oops, what that row 7 is saying is that you must be able to open and close doors. You must be able to sit and stand, right? It is not a task area, so it's dead to me, which is good because it was already passed. So here, this one's some language markup. I don't want to pretend like I'm a total software expert. By the way, when I start trying to get my codes, I'm like, okay, there's 541, 512. But the scope of the work here, procure a COTS product solution that's customized for us to be able to do this. And I can't remember exactly. So customizable to add customized features and interaction with third-party tools such as SharePoint Online. I love how they're calling SharePoint Online a third-party tool. Like that is what 99% of the government use. But this opportunity to me is good enough for me to put it to the side and say, I think I want to look at it because I think we can do this within SharePoint. I've been out of SharePoint for a few years, so I can't totally remember. But often I will go make the case. But I need to do some more research on the task area. So I'm gonna keep that one. Here, it's an RFI, it's CETA, blah, blah. It's too much stuff. I want to come down. That was too much in the title. I want to come down here and see what it actually wants. Well, actually, let me do that search again. Okay, so contractors provide business management services, specializing program budget, accounting services, operations support include IT, knowledge management. Okay, so I like this one for a second, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to follow it all the way along, but I spent 1 minute looking at it. I like it because I can go to a teaming partner, perhaps even a bigger one, and say, hey, I can do this part really well. Like I know I can do knowledge management, SharePoint, some of this other stuff, the EA support maybe. So I can now, my next task is to, and I teach this in a different training, but I do a requirement gap analysis where I break this opportunity up into its component parts and score myself on these things. An example is I would give myself a 0 for, or 1, which is basically 0 for finance. I don't know anything about finance as a government contractor, right? So that and accounting services would be 0, but SharePoint, that'd be a 5, knowledge management, a 5. And so I would score myself on these in the next phase. I built a requirement, our GovCon in a Box team built a requirements gap analysis to automate this, and we're testing it. But I'll demo it so you can see it. And I've done tons of training on how you can do that yourself. All right, so I'm looking here, enhanced technical information management. So if I come down here, you notice my pattern, right? I'm looking at the title and just going, do I like it? Is it interesting enough for a second? And then I come down and I say, let me look at the description. And I keep doing this. I get down there and then I remember to search. So let me search for SharePoint. So here, you need to have a breadth of knowledge of blah, blah, blah. This is too much. So SharePoint's in this mix with literally with guacamole, right? Whatever that is. I'm not an expert there. So I need to come up and go, what the heck do they want? I'm probably going to abandon this because it looks like it's too much. It's like teams experience designing, supporting systems and the policies and software systems. This is just too much for me. I know the size of my company, and I'm not going to get into all these things. And this is the problem. I might get sucked in because I could rationalize why I could do this, even though really it's just a tiny fraction that's SharePoint. And then all these other things, I'm like, well, we've designed and tested the software. Yes, but we don't have past performances that say all these things. And it's not even big enough for me to say, let me go get on a team. So this guy, you're out of here. All right, USCIS out of DHS. I'm going to come down here. Oh, I remembered to search this time. Okay, so scope of the requirement. So all these guys require support for SharePoint, EIN, Connect. I don't even need to look anymore. That is perfect for me to say this is a slam dunk so far, right? I only spent less than a minute on it. So far it's a slam dunk. It's going to go into my pipeline, and then I'll start qualifying it. I'll read the details of the requirement. But I want to move on because my goal is I want to be like a factory. If you think about a car coming through, one person or now one robot is doing one thing. They're putting a tire on, they're putting a tire on, they're putting a tire on. And so here, what I'm doing is trying to find a bunch of opportunities to just abandon or put them on my list. And because I have the tabs open, I'll then come back and add them to my pipeline. And then I'll go through this exercise of spending 4 hours evaluating a bunch of different opportunities. Okay, so this last one, this is a training course, and I'm probably not going to do it, but let me just look really quick. So the VA is looking for curated SharePoint site owner. Oh, no, that's spot on what I do. So I almost abandoned it because I saw a CSAR here, And I thought, it must be some program I'm not used to. But it doesn't matter. They're talking about Site Owner and Power Automate. These are where we're solid experts. And so it took me, again, really, it's less than 30 seconds to analyze that thing and say it's a fit. So now I've got 4 opportunities that I like, right? And just tracking my time here. This same thing as you go forward, I want you to recognize how I look for opportunities that are fits, and I abandon other ones really fast. So here, let me look at just really quick for the fun of it, actually exact phrase. See here, I'm going to do sign language. Let's just try that for a second. Okay, so American Sign Language. So Graham, I told you, was in the marketplace. And here's Technical American Sign Language, interpreting services. It's a BPA, which I know they'd love. And this thing is due on January 3rd. So they only got like 11 days past. But it doesn't matter. If I saw this, and if Graham's not on here today, I'll go tell them about it. But I would recommend to them, hey, go respond anyways. It's a BPA. It's a sources sought, meaning they're still trying to figure it out. Get in there. Don't ever worry about responding late to RFIs and sources sought. Worry about being late because it was your fault, but don't worry about it if like you just missed it and you heard about it. They want to find the best vendors. If they're still looking, they'd be happy to show up. So this would be awesome for them. Okay, one other thing I wanted to show you. I was showing you sources sought. Let me just leave sign language on for a second, but get rid of sources sought. And now there's 5, right? So I could explore those more, but what I want is inactive now as well. And now there's 1,000 in there. And I know I got only a few minutes left, but I want to show you. I'm going to go to notice type, and I'm going to say, show me award notices. And so I had 1,000 something. Now I'm down to 208 opportunities that Graham might like for American Sign Language, right? And what I want to do is to go see when was this awarded. So if I look here, basically, I'm looking for when was the award date and update, response date. Let's just say response date or something, but let's just say, no, I can't use response date. I got to use update date. So I don't know how well this will work, but in the past year, so there was 10. The reason I'm saying this is and I don't have enough time in this training, but you saw there was 200 opportunities. I would begin to go in and look at them and say, when was the start and end? And the way I do that is I might grab this opportunity I'm looking at, right? American Sign Language for FEMA at a DHS. I might open it up and then go over into FPDS, and I'll talk to you more about it tomorrow. In fact, maybe I'll do SAM to FPDS and show you that tomorrow. But I'll look in FPDS to see when did the contract start, including like the base year start, and when are all option years expiring. First off, I want that opportunity. So I'm going to go after that, put that in my pipeline. Even if it's 2 years out, I'll just put it in. I found it. Might as well get it in there and keep it in mind. The other thing is now I've got points of contact. If I came in here to American Sign Language and I scrolled to the bottom, here I've got so this one sucks because it's unison, but you get my point, right? I could come in here and find a primary or secondary point of contact. And by finding them, I now have somebody to reach out to. Maybe they don't like the current company. Maybe they want to get somebody else. Okay, so let me find my slides again and just share the last one. Here's what I want you to remember from today. Let me scoot forward a little bit. Okay, here's what I want you to remember coming out of today's training. When you go into SAM and you're trying to find opportunities that are a fit for your company, because you need opportunities in the pipeline in order to win anything, make sure you're focused. Narrow down on the keyword. I did SharePoint. I did sign language. That's an easy place to start. And the next thing is when you see 5 opportunities or 100 opportunities, very quickly, just kind of from the title, click and open it in a new tab. If it looks even remotely interesting, open it in a new tab. And then come back and review all the open tabs and pick the slam dunks that you'll add to the pipeline. I say put things into the pipeline the minute you think it's an opportunity. After like 5 minutes at most of research, then put it in the pipeline. Because as a company, you want to track all those opportunities you might abandon. It teaches you, why did we abandon it when I thought it was a slam dunk, right? What did I learn further? Also, you want to track your trends. How many opportunities do I need going into the pipeline? And the last thing is you want to track your time, especially if you're not the boss. You want to make sure your boss knows you're working on all these opportunities. If all you did is worked on them in SAM, it looks vague. But if it's in a pipeline and you're able to point to the pipeline, They see the activity you go through to get to your success for them. Hey, we got a networking event on 2 Mondays from now, the 27th. Make sure you go register. We had over 240 something people register for the one we just did yesterday. It was a great event, and I'd love to have you at the next one. So make sure you register for that. You can find that registration at govconinabox.com/networking. So just pop over there and you can find the information. I will see you in tomorrow's training on FPDS. Until then, just remember, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. I will see you in the next training.